The Honorable Gail Brewster Bereola's life of service started in San Francisco. Born in the city, she went on to receive her Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of San Francisco and her Juris Doctorate degree from UC Hastings School of Law. She also joined the U.S. Army Reserves and eventually the JAG Corps. Ms. Bereola worked as a prosecutor in the San Francisco District Attorney's Office before moving to the East Bay and into private practice. But the bench called. Ms. Bereola was appointed as a commissioner to the Oakland Piedmont Emeryville Municipal Court in 1991. Just 10 months later, then Governor Pete Wilson appointed her as a judge in the same court. Judge Bereola has since been elevated to the Alameda County Superior Court. She's handled multiple assignments and held several leadership roles, including supervising judge of the Superior Court and presiding judge of the Juvenile Court. One of her most impactful contributions centers on her efforts around restorative justice, which focuses on the rehabilitation of offenders through reconciliation with victims and the community. Judge Bereola convened Alameda County's Restorative Juvenile Justice Task Force and collaborated with local organizations to implement restorative justice processes into the county's schools and juvenile system. Judge Bereola has earned statewide recognition and countless awards throughout her 40-year legal career, from outstanding contributions to the law and to her community.
To be a Superior Court judge, and that obtains today as well, you have to have practiced law at least 10 years preceding your appointment or your election to the bench. And so that's what that means, to be a Superior Court judge, that you've satisfied that and that you've either been appointed or you've been elected. And that qualifies you to handle criminal matters and civil matters. Usually they are important or serious criminal matters because superior courts are courts of general jurisdiction that hear all criminal and civil matters first. And the civil matters generally start from $25,000 minimum and then go up. The legislature is the one that enacts and makes the law, and then courts carry out that law. We apply that law in cases that come before us in court. And sometimes, yes, we may have to interpret the law, but mostly we just try to apply the law. And hopefully the law is clear so that it can be applied and you're not having to do a lot of interpretation of the law. But if you do need to interpret, there's case law, there are cases. And from those cases, that's how you are able to determine the nuances, so to speak, of the law and whether a law is on point or applicable to a particular case or not. It's always necessary to have women at the table. And maybe I say that because I'm a woman, but I also say it because I think that naturally women tend to be nurturers. Women, and I don't mean that in a deprecating way. I think it's a good thing to be nurturing and to be able to see the abilities and the talents of others and to try to nurture that. There are too many areas where, unfortunately, there could be a lot of improvement in terms of inroads for women. For example, in the legal field, when I started off, the legal field was very male dominated. Sometimes when men are not used to being around women, there may be a tendency, even though they have mothers, they may have sisters, there may be a tendency to downplay what women really know and what they add to the table. And so for the benefit of men as well as for women and others, I think that it's important to have more women because we do add something and we do bring something to the table. We have a thought process. We have ideas of how to do things perhaps in a different way that we can offer. We all have experiences, and our experiences are wrapped up in our backgrounds and who we are. And definitely as a Black woman, I have a perspective that is probably unique and different from your perspective. And that doesn't mean that we can't have perspectives that agree and that are similar. But I come from a different background, you come from a different background. And so I think that all of those perspectives are just as important. And when you don't have, when someone is missing from the table, none of us get to benefit from the perspective that that Black woman has to offer. And that perspective can mold and shape who we are as a nation as well. So I think that it's really important that we all be at the table. It is important, I think, to be mentored. And mentoring can look a lot of different ways. It's not that you have to latch on to someone necessarily and follow them around. But if there's someone that you admire and you've seen their work and they're accessible, maybe they're local, you can do research. I mean, nowadays, with all of our social media, you can do research on people, find out about them, learn about them, and you can call people up and you'd be surprised how people will make time for you. Be bold about it. Don't be fearful or afraid. Speak up, ask questions, find out people's pathways and how they were able to do what they did. And don't be afraid to do different things as well. It used to be that we would get on one track and we thought that was the way. Nowadays, we see people with so many different talents. Utilize those talents. If there's something that you feel passionate about, that you're interested in, do those things. Nothing is wrong with that. And it all comes together in the end. Go for it, follow your passions. And even if you don't feel totally passionate about something, sometimes we do things that we don't feel very passionate about. You never know where that experience can lead and how it can help later on. And so nothing is lost, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.